come with me," the ex-Navy SEAL said. The Christmas lights along Maple Street had mostly gone dark by 9 o'clock. Through the frosted window of her small rental house, Linda Morrison watched the last few families hurry home, their laughter fading into the cold December night. She was 54 years old, with shoulder-length blonde hair that she'd stopped coloring 6 months ago, letting the natural grey threads show through. Her face carried the kind of gentle lines that spoke of years spent smiling, though tonight those lines seemed deeper somehow. She wore a simple grey sweater, practical jeans, and the wedding ring she still couldn't bring herself to remove. Behind her, the house was quiet except for the soft crackling of the small artificial tree in the corner. The girls had finally gone to bed. Emma, her youngest at 8, and Sophie, who'd just turned 12 and was trying so hard to be brave about everything. Linda pressed her forehead against the cool glass and let out a long, tired breath. It had been 18 months since David died. A heart attack at 56, sudden and merciless. One day he was coaching Sophie's soccer team and the next he was gone. The life insurance had been less than they'd thought, and the medical bills had been more. Moving from their home in Connecticut to this small rental in upstate New York had been the only option. That made financial sense. The girls had been so good about it. Too good, maybe. Emma still asked when they could go back home. And Sophie had started taking on responsibilities no 12-year-old should have to carry. Tonight, their first Christmas without David and without their old life. Linda had done her best. There was a tree, modest gifts wrapped in paper she'd saved from last year,
and a dinner of roast
chicken that wasn't quite as grand as the turkeys of years past, but it was something. The girls had smiled. They'd opened their presents with genuine excitement over the books and art supplies and warm socks. They'd held hands while Linda said grace, and nobody had cried at the empty chair. But now, in the quiet dark, Linda felt the full weight of it all. A sudden bark outside made her look up. Across the street, under the glow of a porch light, she saw him, a man in military fatigues, tall and solid, probably in his late 50s. He had a weathered face, a grey-brown beard, and the kind of posture that spoke of decades of discipline. Beside him sat a beautiful German shepherd, alert and watching. Linda had seen them before, always at a distance. He lived 2 houses down, kept to himself mostly. She'd heard from the mailman that he was former military, some kind of special forces, the kind of man who'd seen things that made him prefer the company of his dog to most people. She'd never actually spoken to him, but now he was crossing the street, the dog walking calmly at his side without a leash. Linda stepped back from the window, suddenly aware that he might have seen her, standing there in the dark. A moment later, there was a firm but gentle knock at her door. Linda hesitated, then pulled her sweater tighter and opened it, leaving the chain lock on. "Evening, ma'am," the man said. His voice was deep and quiet, the kind that didn't need to be loud to be heard. "Name's Michael Garrett. I live down the street." "Linda Morrison," she said, trying to place why he might be at her door at 9:30 on Christmas night. He looked uncomfortable, shifting his weight slightly. The dog sat perfectly still beside him, brown eyes calm and intelligent. "I know this might seem strange," Michael said slowly, "but I was out walking Zeus here, and I couldn't help but notice, well, I saw you through the window there, and you looked like maybe this Christmas wasn't sitting quite right." Linda felt her throat tighten, something about the directness of it. The lack of false cheer made it impossible to lie. "It's been a hard year," she managed. Michael nodded once, as if that was all the explanation he needed. "I've got a fire going at my place," he said. "Good coffee, and Zeus here doesn't get nearly enough company. If you and your girls wanted to come sit for a while, you'd be welcome. No pressure, no expectations. Just seemed like maybe sitting alone in the dark wasn't doing anybody any favors." Linda blinked, caught off guard by the kindness of it. The girls are asleep," she said. "Could bring them in their pajamas," Michael offered. "Got plenty of blankets. Sometimes a change of scenery helps, even a small one. But if you'd rather not, I understand completely." He started to turn away, and Linda surprised herself by speaking quickly. "Wait." Michael stopped, looking back at her with patient eyes. "Give me 10 minutes," Linda said. A small smile appeared beneath his beard. "Take your time, ma'am. We'll be right here." 20 minutes later, Linda found herself walking down the quiet street with a sleepy, Emma holding her hand and Sophie on her other side, wrapped in her favorite blanket. Both girls wore their pajamas and winter coats, and both kept stealing curious glances at the big dog walking ahead of them. "Mom, are you sure this is okay?" Sophie whispered. "I think so, honey," Linda whispered back, and realized she actually meant it. Michael's house was small but well kept, with Christmas lights still glowing softly along the roofline. He held the door open as they entered, and Linda immediately felt the warmth from a genuine wood fire crackling in a stone fireplace. The interior was simple but comfortable, clean lines, minimal decoration, but what was there had clearly been chosen with care. A few photographs on the mantel, military buddies by the look of them. A bookshelf filled with worn paperbacks and military histories, and in the center of the room a real Christmas tree, modestly decorated but filling the space with the scent of pine. "Make yourselves at home," Michael said, gesturing to a comfortable-looking couch near the fire. "Hot chocolate for the girls. Coffee for you?" "Hot chocolate," Emma said immediately, suddenly much more awake. Linda smiled. "Coffee would be wonderful." "Thank you." Michael moved to the kitchen with the easy efficiency of someone used to taking care of himself. Zeus followed the girls to the couch, settling on the floor nearby and immediately earning Emma's delighted attention. "Is he friendly?" Emma asked shyly. "Friendliest dog you'll ever meet," Michael called from the kitchen. "Former military working dog, retired now like me. He thinks he's still on duty sometimes, but mostly he just likes to sleep in the sun and get his ears scratched." Sophie sat quietly, watching everything with the careful attention of someone trying to figure out if this was safe, if this was okay. Linda recognized the expression. Sophie had become the protector since David died, always watching out for her and Emma. Linda reached over and squeezed her daughter's hand. Michael returned with mugs of hot chocolate for the girls, topped with marshmallows that made Emma gasp with delight. He handed Linda a simple ceramic mug of coffee, perfectly black. "Cream and sugar are on the table if you need them," he said, settling into an armchair across from the couch. They sat in comfortable silence for a moment, the fire crackling softly, Zeus's tail occasionally thumping against the floor as Emma petted him. "This is really nice of you," Linda said quietly. "We didn't mean to be, I don't know, pitiful, I guess." Michael shook his head firmly. "Nothing pitiful about it. First Christmas after losing someone in a new place. Trying to hold it all together for your kids, that's not pitiful. That's about the bravest thing there is." Linda felt tears prick her eyes and looked down at her coffee. "My wife passed 12 years ago," Michael said, his voice even and calm. "Cancer. We'd been married 26 years. First Christmas after, I spent the whole day pretending I was fine, then sat in the dark and wished I'd let somebody help me carry it." Linda looked up at him. His weathered face was open, honest. "I learned something important that year," he continued. "Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is let other people be strong for you for a little while. Doesn't make you weak, makes you human." Sophie was watching Michael now, really watching him. "Were you really in the military?" she asked. 28 years, Michael said. "Navy SEAL for most of it. Did you fight bad guys?" Emma asked, looking up from Zeus. Michael's expression softened. "I did my part to keep people safe. But the real heroes are the ones who keep going after everything changes. People like your mom, making sure you girls have what you need. Keeping the family together. That takes a different kind of courage." Linda had to set her coffee down because her hands were shaking. "Mom lost her job," Sophie said suddenly, and Linda's heart seized. "She doesn't know I know, but I heard her on the phone yesterday. The library cut their staff." Linda closed her eyes. She'd been so careful not to let them worry. "Sophie." "It's okay, Mom," Sophie said, and she sounded so much older than 12. "I just want you to know you don't have to pretend everything's perfect." Emma had gone very quiet, looking between her sister and mother. Michael leaned forward slightly, resting his elbows on his knees. "If you don't mind me asking, what kind of work are you looking for?" Linda took a breath, trying to steady herself. "I was a reference librarian. I'm qualified for administrative work, research assistants, that sort of thing. But in a town this small, the high school needs an administrative assistant, Michael said. My neighbor Carol works there. They just posted it last week. The hours are good, and the benefits are decent. I could put in a word if you want. Linda stared at him. I don't know what to say. Don't say anything yet, Michael said. Just think about it. Carol's good people. She'd give you a fair shot. They sat together as the fire burned low, and then Michael added another log. Emma eventually curled up against Linda's side, fighting sleep. Sophie sat with Zeus's head in her lap, stroking his ears with a gentle rhythm that seemed to calm something in her. Michael told quiet stories about Zeus's training, about fishing trips in Alaska, about learning to cook after his wife died because he'd never bothered to learn before and nearly starved eating frozen dinners. He made them laugh, small laughs at first, then real ones, and Linda realized something she hadn't felt in 18 months. She felt like maybe they were going to be okay. Not perfect, not the life they'd planned, but okay. A different kind of okay, built from new pieces. It's getting late, Linda said eventually, though she found herself reluctant to leave. The warmth of the fire and the unexpected comfort of this quiet man's home. Anytime you need a fire and some company, doors open, Michael said simply. Zeus gets lonely during the day while I'm at work. Would probably appreciate visits from a couple of expert dog-petting specialists. Emma perked up immediately. Really? Really? Michael confirmed. And I make a mean grilled cheese if you ever need lunch. Sophie smiled, a real smile. The first genuine one Linda had seen from her in weeks. They walked back down the dark street together, Michael and Zeus accompanying them to their door. The Christmas lights seemed a little brighter now. Or maybe Linda was just seeing them differently. Thank you, Linda said at her doorstep, and the words carried everything she couldn't quite express. You didn't have to do this. Yeah, I did, Michael said quietly. Nobody should spend Christmas feeling alone. Not if there's something I can do about it. He tipped his head in a small nod, then turned to go, Zeus at his side. Michael, Linda called after him. He stopped, looking back. Maybe we could have you over for dinner sometime. I'm not much of a cook, but I make a decent pot roast. His smile was genuine and warm. I'd like that, Linda. I'd like that a lot. They watched him walk back to his house, his steady presence somehow making the night feel less dark, less overwhelming. Inside, as Linda tucked the girls back into bed, Emma whispered, Mom, I think maybe this place might be okay. Yeah, baby, Linda whispered back, kissing her forehead. I think it might be. That night, Linda slept better than she had in months. And when she woke up the next morning, to fresh snow and morning light streaming through the windows, she found a note tucked under her front door. Carol's number. She's expecting your call, Michael. Linda stood on her porch in her bathrobe, holding the note, watching the sunrise paint the snow pink and gold. Down the street, she could see smoke rising from Michael's chimney. Could imagine him in there with his coffee and his dog, ready to face whatever the day brought. Sometimes she thought life doesn't go the way you planned. Sometimes you lose everything you thought you needed to be happy. And sometimes, on a cold Christmas night, a kind stranger reminds you that you're stronger than you knew, and that new beginnings can start with a simple invitation. Come with me. Thank you so much for listening to this story today. If it touched your heart, I'd be grateful if you'd give it a like and share it with someone who might need to hear it. Please subscribe to hear more stories about courage, kindness, and the unexpected ways life brings us exactly what we need. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Have you ever experienced an unexpected kindness that changed everything? Your stories matter. Until next time, take care of each other.